guessing you must be pretty busy with everything.
I got a lot going. My body doesn't even know where it is or what time it is, to be very honest with you. It's been a whirlwind tour with this movie. We got other stuff happening, so that's part of it. That's why you make these movies so that you can go and bring them to audiences and have an opportunity to come over here and present it. And, I've got London's finest, Idris Elba, in the movie. This is it. This is what it's about. So I'm enjoying it, man.
Yeah. And I guess, has the novelty of it actually being released theatrically kind of worn off yet? Because obviously I know it's been a while that things have been coming back to cinemas, but it was all closed down for such a long time. It still it must still be quite exciting to have it coming out in the cinema, I guess.
It is. I mean, listen, I make movies for theatrical as well as streaming. You have to these days, obviously, right? It'll be interesting to see over the next couple of years how audiences come back and what movies they come back for and what movies they don't. I think there'll always be a theatrical viewing experience, but I'm not sure that all types of movies will be available or will make sense for distribution in theaters. But we'll see. I think Beast is a test of that. It's original IP. It's not a big comic book film, but it's something that we always thought of as best viewed on the biggest format possible. When you see this movie and you see the big scoping shots, the tracking shots of the African savannah and, Idris and the family set against that with, of course, this lion that's stalking them through the bush. That's the type of film that, in my opinion, is worth going to see in theaters.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing that you kind of want to see with the crowd so you can kind of get that group reaction, isn't it?
And there's that, too. Absolutely. Yeah. I definitely think this is best as a shared experience because it is a thriller, because it does keep you on the edge of your seat.
Yeah. I mean, was that kind of what attracted you to it in the first place?
I think so. I mean, it's a genre that I personally I love. And it's something that we hadn't seen this version of it. And I'm a fan of, movies like Jaws and Cujo and even Jurassic Park, right? I like that genre of movies. And I hadn't made one. So it was definitely an opportunity for me to do something different. And getting Idris and Baltazar together, they were the key elements to help kind of elevate this thing. And so, not just make it like straight B-movie cheese fest. I wanted something that had some weight to it, characters you could be invested in, and Idris gave us that, and Baltazar understands how to, work a narrative. He understands the elements that are necessary in a movie like this to make it feel really visceral. Yeah.
And I guess the fact that you shot the whole thing on location is going to be a big part of that as well.
No question. Whole thing on location in South Africa. That was a big undertaking. We were 5 hours, away from the nearest, major city. So we're shooting, around small villages, not a lot of people, a lot of animals, a lot of nature, right? That was an experience in itself. But it pays off, I think you feel that. We didn't want it to be a CGI lion against a green screen background. We wanted the lion to be the only element as much as possible that was computer generated, and we pulled that off.
Did you get sort of an excuse for a holiday while you were out there, or was it all just work all the time?
It was work. It was a lot of work. And again, we were so far out for the majority of the time. We did shoot in Cape Town on stages for some of the work, but for the most part, we were way out in the bush. So it wasn't a vacation. It was work. You had to keep your head on a swivel too, because you're in nature's environment. They're not in yours. So that was interesting, but it was fun. It was my first time shooting on the continent, and the crews and everything were amazing. It's a big part of what made this film ultimately what it is, was shooting on location, giving it that authenticity. That was really important. It was something we talked about from the conception of the movie.
Yeah, cool. And I guess kind of just taking it right back to the beginning of things, how are you hoping that, I guess, audiences respond to the movie? What do you hope that they take away from it if they're going in completely blind?
Yeah. You know what? First and foremost, I hope they're entertained. I hope they enjoy the thrill ride. I hope they, spill a little bit of their popcorn and squeeze the person next to them a little too tight, whether they know them or not, right? That's good. That's fun. I also think that, we've got something to say about, the dangers of poaching and the reality of it and what a scourge it is across the world really, but certainly in the continent of Africa, we've got that. And then it says something about family, because this is a family that's in peril. Well before they face the man-eating lion, they've got their own dilemmas and tension. And I think that it says something, and a lot of us can relate to it coming out of the pandemic. A lot of us have strained familiar relationships. And so, but at the end of the day, family's all you got. And family's what you got to depend on. And I think that message is in this movie also.